Hey everybody, it's Bruce here with Traveling with Bruce. Welcome to my channel. Thank you all of you out there who are subscribing to Traveling with Bruce, giving my videos thumbs ups if you like them, and sending me your comments. I really do appreciate hearing from you. Today's video, it's all about the signs that are out there, whether or not cruising is going to start in the U.S. anytime soon. I'm going over a number of things that are happening here, and well, let's just get into it. Number one, the CDC. They're not talking right now. They're waiting for the 21st of September for the end of the public comment period so that they can review all of the comments made to the CDC about if cruising is to start in the U.S. again, under what terms and conditions. The sail date, so-called restrictions for cruise lines, goes until the end of September as far as the CDC is concerned. It's to the end of October with the CLIA, the Cruise Line International Association. And so there really is no cruising expected until the first week of November. And the question is, will there be any sailing in the first week of November? The CEO of the Port of Carnival has come out and has made a personal statement, and he has reiterated the fact that this is not an official comment from the port, but it is his personal opinion as the CEO. He doesn't think there'll be any sailings out of the Port of Carnival for 2020. He figures 2021 sometime, and when it does restart, only 50% capacity is what he is expecting will be allowed for the cruise lines. And that is bad news for some of these older ships, because at 50% capacity, the older ships won't make any money. So we'll follow that very closely. There are lots of reports coming out in the last 2-3 months now. We've heard about how some of the cruise lines have tried to restart cruising in Europe as a test, because the Europeans were able to really knock the virus down dramatically after the initial outbreak. But unfortunately, there have been positive COVID tests coming out now from crew and passengers in various areas, including Norway, Germany, Italy, and even last week, Saudi Arabia with a 6-star cruise line, Silver Sea, Saudi Arabian nationals only to only Saudi ports, and within 24 hours of starting the cruise, they already had a positive test on board. So there are all kinds of issues there. The media is largely ignoring it. The cruise lines are definitely ignoring these stories. They're trying to push it forward that, hey, we're going to get cruising started. It's going to be great. The problem for American cruising to start, first of all, there are no crews on board any cruise ships around the world, really. And there are no cruise ships of any great numbers near the U.S. Everyone is bugged out. The cruise lines have left U.S. waters and have taken their ships elsewhere. Here's an image of a whole bunch of cruise ships. They have been hanging around Asia, the Manila area, and now Singapore, because these cruise lines have been repatriating their crews back to the Philippines and Indonesia and everywhere else in Asia. The cruise ships that are down there now are clustered here. You'll look at this map. You'll note that this is a shot here of the Philippines. There's a couple of ships in the port of Manila, but they're now from there, they've all headed over here. After they dropped off 60, 70,000, 80,000 Filipinos, they're hanging out here. They're waiting outside of Singapore. You can see a huge cluster of them right there. All those ships had brought back at least 60,000 crew members, maybe 80,000 crew members back to Asian countries. They're now awaiting their next instructions from their bosses, and there have to be close to 20 of these cruise ships here from the major cruise lines, Carnival brands, Norwegian, and Royal Caribbean. These ships will, when given the word, grab their crews. Here's some of them. And they'll bring them back to their cruise ships in the U.S. and possibly Europe. But the problem is the testing. You've got to get all of these crew members gathered up, brought back to these cruise ships. They have to be pre-tested before they can get on. When they're on the ships, they then have to be taken back to where they're supposed to be assigned to. And then you've got to convince the CDC, especially in the USA, of course, that the 1,000 members of your crew, average of 1,000 crew members per ship nowadays, you've got to convince the CDC that when you put 2,000 Americans and others onto a cruise ship with 1,000 crew members that have come from all of these other countries, that no one is going to get anyone else sick. Good luck with that one without a vaccine. I don't know how this is going to happen. Here's a couple of shots of Singapore, where these ships have been coming in for supplies. They come in and pick up food and other provisions, and then they head back out. And behind in the background, you can see all these crew, other ships, the container ships that are all stranded and are many of them are not moving at all, and they've got thousands of crew members stuck on board these ships. Once the green light is given, these are the kinds of vessels, of course, that will bring 3,000 crew plus the regular 1,000 crew on board. 4,000 crew members will be on these ships heading to wherever they have to go to rendezvous back with their existing cruise lines. It's going to be a massive undertaking in reverse, because for the last 4 months the cruise lines have been dumping off their crews. Then they're going to have to turn it around and do it the other way around, because I can't see airlines being given the instant green light from CDC and other authorities to start traveling globally as if nothing is going on. I just don't see it happening. And I would not want to be on a plane with 400 passengers on a 9 or a 10-hour flight from Asia to the U.S., because the odds are that over that time frame, how can I not catch any droplets in the air to get ill? I don't know. Other things to understand and keep in mind is that cruise lines like Cunard, Disney, Holland America, and others, they have been extending their shutdowns on their own voluntarily. Disney just announced just a day ago, 24 hours ago, that they have canceled another 6 weeks of sailings. And Cunard won't sail until next summer of 2021. Holland America has canceled sailings until the springtime of 2021. And so even if the CDC were to come around with any kind of notification, these cruise lines have already canceled cruises as it is on their own, and they can see the writing on the wall that without a full-blown vaccine in place, this is hardly going to start. Cruise ports. There are a ton of cruise ports, including the Cayman Islands here. These couple of shots here from the Caymans. These guys are not interested in having cruise ships return to their island at this point in time. The Cayman Islands, this is a jurisdiction that is quite wealthy. They have a very serious offshore banking system, insurance, and that kind of thing. They actually make far more money from about 500,000 tourists a year that would fly in here if they were allowed to and spend anywhere from 1 to 2 weeks each at the 5- and 6-star hotels on the beach. The 2 million plus tourists a year that come in on cruise ships to the Cayman Islands only spend about 10 to 15% of the amount of money that the folks who come in for a week or two at a time spend as a whole. And so the Cayman Islands are realizing, we haven't had a cruise ship here now for almost 6 months, and we kind of miss them, but we don't. If we just had our 500,000 high-enders here, we'd be doing just fine. Maybe we should go from 500,000 to 1 million of the high-enders, and we'll make even more money than if we had cruise ship passengers. The other jurisdictions, the Bahamas, this is a tricky one. They're into phase 3 of restarting tourism, and phase 4 will allow cruise ships, but they're not at phase 4. So Disney right here cannot come to Castaway Cay. This area here has been unoccupied by Disney clients now since March of this year, and these areas have to be kept up in the meantime. You can't just ignore them. You've got security here, you have maintenance issues here, you have to keep them patrolled and maintained at all times. And all of the private islands that the cruise lines are operating, which now have to be over 12 of them now, are costing millions of dollars per month to maintain and keep in full working order. By the way, that great big palm tree is not a palm tree. That's a cell phone tower. Yeah, you gotta have your wireless when you're on vacation as well. So without the Bahamas opening up, and at this point they're not, we're not looking at the Bahamas allowing cruise ships, and I think realistically until January of 2021. I can't see how this area right here, Perfect 8 Coco Key, it will not be open until January 2021 at the absolute earliest, because again, the islands cannot handle cases of the virus if people show up in mass droves. This picture here is a shot of yesterday. You're not going to see this for an awful long time, if ever. The tight crowding here. This is a photo that was of a cruise that was a sort of a theme cruise. You're just not going to see this anymore. This is the kind of behavior that can get you very, very ill. These private resorts, however, with only half capacity on the ships, might be the perfect remedy. With maybe 1,500 passengers instead of 3,000 passengers, you can space out those all those loungers down there, and you can really make it a lot safer for people to come cruising going forward. But right now, we know that a number of Caribbean islands do not want tourists coming in of any kind, and we're probably not going to see a scene like this for a while, even here in Puerto Rico, until the CDC is on board. We'll stay on top of this story in the meantime. We'll keep you posted. Every day is a new story, a new development, but the big picture remains in place that they're experimenting with cruising in Europe, but they are running into incidents of COVID showing up in crews and from passengers. They're doing tracing to see what this how bad it is and how widespread it's going to be. But in the meantime, in the U.S., the numbers are so outrageous compared to the rest of the planet, there will be no cruising for quite some time from this gentleman's viewpoint. Thank you again for subscribing to my channel, giving my videos thumbs ups. Let me know what you think with your comments, and we'll talk to you later, everybody. Bye for now.